Your brain is trying to save your life right now, and you're calling it depression. Listen carefully. What if that numbness isn't a malfunction? What if that exhaustion isn't weakness? What if your nervous system looked at the person you've been pretending to be and said, "This version is killing us"? Shut it down, not to hurt you, to protect you. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to prove this isn't poetry. It's biology, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Stay with me. This gets uncomfortable. You've been performing for so long, you forgot it's a performance. Every morning, you put on the face, the one that's acceptable, manageable, easy. You smile when expected. You say the right things. You manage everyone else's emotions while yours scream in the background. And it worked. For years, it worked. Until one day, it didn't. The smile wouldn't stick. The words felt fake. Your body just stopped cooperating. You thought, "I'm broken." But what if you're not? What if that shutdown is the sanest thing you've ever done? What if your brain finally did the math, energy in versus cost out, and the numbers were catastrophic? What if depression is your body's refusal to keep dying slowly? Your body keeps a ledger you can't see. Every time you said yes when you meant no. Every time you swallowed your anger. Every time you performed joy while screaming inside, your nervous system recorded it, filed it, calculated the cost. You thought you were getting away with it. You thought fake it till you make it actually worked. But your body doesn't negotiate. It doesn't accept excuses. It just tracks the data. Cortisol levels, heart rate variability, inflammatory markers, neural pathway activation. And when the cumulative cost exceeded your capacity to pay, it activated the emergency protocol. Depression isn't a mental illness. It's a metabolic response. Your brain is rationing energy for survival because the life you were living registered as a threat. You felt it, didn't you? That exact moment when something shifted. Maybe you were in the middle of a meeting, or getting ready for the day, or lying in bed at 3 a.m., and suddenly you couldn't remember why you cared about any of it. Not dramatically, not with a breakdown, just a quiet disconnection, like someone unplugged you from your own life. You looked at your goals, your routines, your relationships, and felt nothing. Just a vast, empty nothing where motivation used to be, and everyone around you kept acting like everything was normal. Like you were still there, but you knew. You knew that person was gone, and you've been trying to get them back ever since. But what if you're not supposed to? If this feels too familiar, don't leave. The next part explains why. Your brain monitors threat levels every single second, without your permission, without your awareness. It tracks environmental danger, social status, internal inflammation, energy reserves, emotional load. And when aggregate threat exceeds your capacity to cope, it activates a survival protocol. Allostatic shutdown. Dopamine production decreases. Motivation circuits go offline. Pleasure response dulls. Prefrontal cortex activity reduces. This isn't a bug. It's a feature. Your brain is forcing energy conservation. Triage. Life support mode. It calculated the energetic cost of maintaining your current life versus the resources you actually have, and the math didn't work. So it made an executive decision. Withdraw investment from a life that's bankrupting you. This is why willpower fails. Why positive thinking doesn't work. Why you can't just try harder. You're not fighting depression. You're fighting your own survival instinct. Let's look at what your brain was tracking. Chronic sleep debt. Constant low-grade inflammation. Elevated baseline cortisol. Suppressed immune function. Digestive issues. Muscle tension. Shallow breathing. Social exhaustion. Performance anxiety. Emotional labor without reciprocity. Relationships that drain more than they nourish. Cognitive load beyond capacity. Decision fatigue. Too many roles, too many masks, too many versions of yourself to maintain, and underlying it all, a quiet, constant awareness that none of this feels right. That you're living someone else's life. That you're dying by degrees, your brain added it up, and the total was unsustainable, so it shut you down. Not to punish you, to save you from the thing killing you, which was you. The version of you that kept choosing performance over survival. Here's the part no one wants to hear, the life you thought you were supposed to want. It was designed by people who don't know you, who've never met you, who don't care if it kills you. You absorbed their blueprint, their definition of success, their version of happiness, and you tried so hard to become that. You sacrificed your authenticity, your boundaries, your actual needs. You performed. You adapted. You optimized yourself for a life that was never meant for you. And your nervous system watched and calculated and finally said, This version of us is the threat, not the world. Not your circumstances, not other people. You, the person you've been forcing yourself to be. Depression didn't attack you. It attacked the lie you were living, the persona that kept saying yes when your body screamed no, that kept pushing when you needed rest, that kept performing when you needed to exist. You spent years fighting the wrong enemy. You thought it was your brain chemistry, your genetics, your childhood, your circumstances. You tried medication, therapy, meditation, exercise, routine, discipline. Some helped. None fixed it, because you were treating a symptom while protecting the cause. The cause was the life you refused to question, the identity you refused to let die. You were so invested in who you thought you should be that you couldn't see who you actually were. Your depression wasn't trying to destroy you. It was trying to destroy the version of you that was already dying, the people pleaser, the overachiever. The person who made everyone else comfortable while suffocating inside. That person had to go. And your body knew it before your mind did. If this is hitting too close, you're exactly where you need to be. This started before you remember. You learned early that your authentic self wasn't safe, that your real feelings were inconvenient, that your needs were burdensome. Maybe it was subtle. A parent who sighed when you needed attention. A teacher who rewarded compliance. A friend group that only liked the easy version of you, so you adapted. You became whatever kept you safe. Agreeable, independent, low maintenance, and it worked. You got approval, belonging, love, or what you thought was love, but your nervous system kept the real ledger. Every suppressed emotion, every swallowed need, every moment you chose acceptance over authenticity, the debt accumulated, silently, invisibly, until the bill came due. And depression was the collection notice. Years of self-betrayal demanding payment. You can't negotiate with biology. You can only pay what you owe. Your coping mechanisms saved your life. They actually did. The hypervigilance kept you safe when your environment was unpredictable. The people-pleasing earned you approval when love felt conditional. The emotional suppression made you manageable when authenticity was punished. They worked. That's the problem. Your nervous system learned, this strategy keeps us alive. Run it forever, and it did. Long after the original threat ended. Long after you didn't need protection anymore. The hypervigilance that saved you as a child now keeps you anxious as an adult. The people-pleasing that earned approval now exhausts you. The emotional suppression that made you safe now makes you numb. Your defenses became your identity. And your brain, loyal and automatic, kept running the program until depression forced a system override. Not to hurt you, to break a pattern that was killing you. There's a specific kind of grief that comes with outgrowing yourself. It doesn't feel like growth. It feels like death. Because you're mourning a version of you that tried so hard, that sacrificed everything, that genuinely believed they were doing the right thing. That version wasn't weak. They were surviving. They were brave even when they were wrong, but they can't exist anymore. Because you've seen too much. You can't unknow what you know. You can't return to the comfortable lie. Depression forces this death. It strips away the persona, the performance, the protective identity you spent years building, and it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait until you're ready. It doesn't care that you're not prepared. It just leaves you standing in the ruins of who you thought you were, asking, what's left? Depression gives you a choice. Though it doesn't feel like a choice, you can rebuild the lie. You can work harder at the performance. You can numb yourself enough, distract yourself enough to function in a life that's killing you. Some people do. They call it recovery. They call it resilience. They call it moving forward, and maybe it works for a while. Until the next collapse, the next shutdown, the next reckoning, or you can sit in the discomfort. You can let the old self die. You can stay in the not knowing and see what remains when all the false parts burn away. That path doesn't promise happiness. It promises honesty, and honesty is brutal before it's liberating. Most people choose the familiar suffering, because at least they know how to survive it. If you're still here, part of you is already choosing the harder path. When the old self dies and the new hasn't formed, there's a gap, a space between, a void, and it's unbearable. You're no one. You're nothing. You're just awareness floating in darkness with no reference points, no identity, no purpose. You can't perform anymore. Your body won't let you. But you also don't know how to be authentic. You've forgotten what you actually want, what you actually need. This is the loneliest place in existence, because you can't explain it to people still performing their lives. They'll tell you to try harder, to stay positive, to get back to normal. And you know there's no normal to return to. So you sit, in the silence, in the not knowing, in the fear that maybe there's nothing real underneath all the performance, and you wait, because there's nothing else to do. And then so quietly you almost miss it. Something changes, not dramatically, not with revelation or clarity, just a shift, a small recognition. You notice that underneath all the performance, underneath all the identity and pattern and protection, there's something that was always there, something that never needed fixing, not a new self, not a better version, just the part of you that existed before you learned to lie, before you learned to hide. It's small, quiet, unimpressive. It doesn't have ambitions or goals. It doesn't know how to optimize or perform. It doesn't care about success or approval. It just knows how to exist, how to notice things, how to breathe. And somehow that's enough. Not because it's special, but because it's real. Because it's the only thing that was never performing. You expected to find yourself and discover something grand, something worthy, something that justified all the suffering. But what you find is smaller than that, quieter than that. Just you. The part that exists when no one's watching, when there's no one to impress. No role to play. It doesn't achieve. It doesn't accomplish. It doesn't prove anything. It just notices the light, feels the breath. Exists without needing existence to mean something, and you realize this was always enough, not because it's impressive, but because it's the only thing that's real. Depression didn't fix you. It didn't heal you. It didn't make you better. It just burned away everything that wasn't you. Everything that was performance, protection, persona, and what remains. It's small. It's vulnerable. It's unimpressive, but it's yours. And it's real. And it's enough. If this changed something, even slightly, that's all you need. Depression protected you, and it destroyed you. Both are true. It saved you from a life that was unsustainable, and it took away your ability to function. Both happened. Both mattered. You were performing. And you were surviving. You were hiding. And you were brave. You were lying to yourself, and you were doing the best you could. There's no clean narrative here. No redemption arc. No moment when everything suddenly makes sense and the wound becomes a gift. You just learn to hold contradictions, to be the person who was hurt and who healed, who was lost and who found something, who died and who remained. Depression didn't fix you, but it stopped you from being someone you couldn't sustain, and in that stopping, it created space for something quieter, something honest, something real. That's not a happy ending. That's just what's true. Eventually you move again, not because you're healed, not because you figured it all out, but because staying still stops working too. You re-enter the world. You interact with people still deep in their performances. You navigate systems designed to reward the lie you used to tell, and it's harder now, because you can see it everywhere. The exhaustion hidden behind smiles. The desperation masked as ambition. The performance everyone's giving while calling it authenticity. And every day you choose. Do I join them? Or do I stay honest? Some days you perform. Because you have to. Because survival requires it. Some days you can't. And your body won't let you fake it. And you learn to forgive yourself for both because you're not fixed. You're just aware, and awareness doesn't make life easier. It just makes it yours. So, did depression protect you? Yes. By destroying the version of you that couldn't survive being you. It wasn't kind. It wasn't gentle. It didn't ask if you were ready. It just looked at the math and acted. And maybe that's the most honest thing that's ever happened to you. You weren't broken. You were breaking, and something in you knew the difference. Depression isn't the enemy. It isn't the answer. It's just what happens when your body refuses to lie anymore. What if that refusal is the only protection that actually works? Not because it feels good, but because it's real. This reached you? Share it with someone who needs to hear it, not because they're broken, but because they might be the most honest person they know, and they just don't know it yet.